Hello everyone. Today we are going to do flowcharts and we'll start with the first exercises in your handout on page 3 at the bottom. Now, the first scenario is read one number as input, square the number, and display the number. Now, at this point, I could actually ask you, what's your number? Well, you've got your numbers. I got mine. So the program has to work for all the numbers. Uh, before we start, we need to start. What's the first shape? Do you remember? You have already watched the PowerPoint, so I'm pretty sure you know that the first shape that we are going to use is an oval, and we are going to write the word start in it. Now, the next step, we've got a flow of information. That's an arrow. And now we have to input one number. What's the shape? Well, it's a parallelogram. Here it is. All right. And what do we put inside? Are we going to put 1, 2, 3? No. Each of you has to have your own number. So we have to have a code name. How about num? N-U-M. Num for a number. All right, so now we inputted our number. Now the next flow of information, what do we do next? Guess what? We need to square it. If we square the number, are we going to have the same number or a new number? Oh, we are going to have a new number. So we have to give it a name. What would be a code name for a number that is squared? Well, we could call it answer. We could call it square. We could call it even product. But guess what? I just call it answer. So, wait, to get the answer, we have to have an action. We actually have to calculate it. What's the shape for action? A rectangle. So here it is, our rectangle. Okay. And we have to tell the computer how we are going to calculate our answer. So we write answer equals to number squared. So how are we going to do it? We can write it down number times number, or we could put num and then circumflex. Yeah, that looks like a little hat. And then we are going to put number 2 because it's squared. Good. So we read one number as input, we squared the number, and now guess what? We need to display the number. How? Oh, let's do it. What's the display shape? The same one as input. Input and output have the same shape. So let's do it. Let's put the parallelogram. Good. And now what are we going to display? Num? No, we're not going to display num. We are going to display answer. So let's write it down. Display answer. And we've done it. That's it. That's all. Now we just stop. Yay! Bravo! We've done our first flowchart. What we were supposed to do? Read one number, okay, square that number, okay, and display that number. What number? Well, the number that was squared, which means we have to display the answer. Good. Now, our next one. The next one is read two numbers as input and display the greater of the two. All right, now we have to compare those two numbers. But before we do it, guess what? We start with start. And a flow of information. Our first shape, input shape. What are we inputting? We are inputting two numbers. Guess what? We need to again give them code numbers. What code numbers? How about N1 and N2? Good, we've got two numbers. Now we are supposed to display the greater of them. How will we find it? Well, we have to use the if shape. So this is a decision actually shape. Decision shape, notice one arrow comes in, two arrows come out, and inside of it we've got a question. The question can only have an answer yes or no. What do we have? What as a question? If n1 is greater than n2. Well, we can have true or false. If n1 is greater than n2, guess what? We are going to display n1 because that means it's a greater one. All right, what's the shape to display? Yep, parallelogram. Here it is. And we are going to say display n1. Very good. Now, what if it is false? What if number 1 is not greater than number 2? Well, what does it tell you? That the number 2 must be the greater one. So what do? We display number 2. Excellent. Now we have to finish it. A flowchart can have only one stop. So let's do it. Arrow down, and I will stop. All right, what about this one? Well, there's arrow in. Where's the arrow out? The arrow out will go right here. We join arrows, all right? So here we enter two numbers, and we are evaluating which one is greater. If n1 is greater than n2, then we display the first one. Otherwise, if this is false, we display the second one. And stop. Ta-da! We've done the second one. Perfect. Now, let's go for the third one. The third one, read two numbers as input, multiply them together, and display the result. Let's do it. We start as usual. And then arrow down, input. Input shape, parallelogram again. And then we've got how many numbers? Two numbers. All right, n1 and n2. Notice I'm putting a comma in between just to remember those are two different numbers. Now, let's go down. Multiply them together. All right, so this is an action shape. Let's do it. Action shape is a rectangle. All right, and if we multiply the first one by the other, we are going to obtain a third number. What are we going to name it? Well, we can name it answer, we can name them result, but wait, what is the outcome of a multiplication? How about a product? Well, that's a good name. So let's call it a product. Product is equal to n1 times n2. Excellent! So So them together, then display the result. Let's go for it. What's the shape? Parallelogram again, because it's an output. So let's do it. And what are we displaying? The product, what we just calculated. So display product. And if we've done it, we can beautifully stop it. Yay! We've done the third one. Are we good? Are we good? Let's go for the fourth one. Read two numbers as input, add them together, and display the result only if it is greater than 10. Again, now we will have to figure out what's greater. But before we get to it, well, guess what? We start. And then what are we going to do? Well, we'll input those two numbers. So again, we get n1 and n2. What we are going to do next is add them together. So we need a code name for the outcome of the addition. What would be the code name? If you add two numbers, you get a sum. So let's call it a sum. And again, because it is an action, we've got equal sign. So we are going to have sum is equal to n1 plus n2. Yay, we've got the sum. Now we have to figure out if that sum is actually greater than 10. Let's do it. How? Well, decisions. Let's do it. So if sum is greater than 10. If this is true, what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to display the sum. What's the shape? Parallelogram. All right. Ta-da! And now we say display. Display what? Display sum. Sum. All right. So what do we do if it is false? Do we have anything about it? No. No. If we don't tell anything to the computer is not going to do anything. So we are going to skip. We have said nothing. All right. And we'll just say stop. Which means if the sum is less than 10, nothing is going to be shown. Now the only thing we need to do is finish this part. Ta-da! And we've done it. We started, we entered two numbers, we added them together, and then we evaluated. If the sum is greater than 10, we display the sum, otherwise we just stop. Bravo! Number 4 is done. Let's go for number 5. Read one number and cube the number displaying the result. All right, very similar to the first one. So we start. All right, and then what are we going to do? Well, enter the number. Let's call it, as we did at the beginning, num, N-U-M. Ta-da! Now we are going to cube it. Now, to cube it, we need to have another code name, because at this point we have no idea what will be the value of the cube. So what shall we call it? How about a cube? All right, and again, because we are calculating, it has to be a rectangle. So let's say cube is equal to, how we cube the number? We can say number times number times number. That would be a cube. Or we can say num circumflex, yeah, that's the little hat. And guess what? Number 3. That's it. We've done it. Now, once we calculated the cube, the next thing we are supposed to do is display the result. Now, I have calculated a cube. So guess what? I'm going to display cube. But what if you called it, remember you are the boss, what if you called it an answer or result? What are you going to display? Well, if you called it an answer, you will display the answer. If you called it a result, you are going to call it a result. So remember that. You are the boss. You name them. You name the variables, though the names should be clear and logical. All right. So now we are missing only one last shape, and let's stop. Ta-da! We've done it, all 5. And that's it for today's lesson. And I hope it was clear.